Hey everybody, welcome to video 10. This is the beginning of our skeletal system unit. For many of you, as we start getting into bones, muscles, and brains, things start to get a lot more interesting. So hopefully these videos get more interesting as well. Today we're going to be just briefly going over an introduction to the skeletal system. There'll be two main things that I want you to look at today in this video, and those are the types of bones and then the ways that your skeleton is divided up. So first thing, all bones are considered connective tissue. They are connecting parts of your body. Other types of connective tissues you can think of are more so what you would think of as connective, things like your ligaments and tendons. Blood is also considered a connective tissue, more so because blood just doesn't fit into any other tissue. But there are 5 functions of your skeletal system. First, it needs to support the body, and it needs to allow for movement, or it needs to facilitate movement. Those two, when you think of your skeletal muscles and you think of the bones that those are pulling on, those are pretty easy to grasp. They also protect your internal organs. So when you think about your rib cage protecting your heart and lungs, they're going to produce blood cells, and we'll see where that production comes from later. And they also are good for regulating your minerals, specifically your calcium and phosphorus, as well as regulating your fat levels. So the adult human body has about 206 bones, and we say about because there's one type of bone that we'll see here that the number varies according to individual. But each of them fall into 5 categories based on their shape. First are going to be your long bones. These are bones that are going to have kind of a tube-like structure. They're going to be fairly long and fairly narrow. And they're primarily going to be used as levers for your muscles to pull on. Your short bones are going to be approximately cube in shape, about as wide as they are long. They're going to be really, really good for stability. In some cases, they do provide a smidgen of movement. Your flat bones are going to be your really, really thin bones. They aren't necessarily flat. You think like your ribs or your skull are going to be made of a lot of flat bones, just because they're really thin, narrow, but they do curve a little bit. Their job is going to be, especially you think about your ribs and your skull, they're going to be protectors, and in some cases may offer movement. Your sesamoid bones, these are going to be really, really tiny. They're called sesamoid because they remind the people that first saw them as sesame seeds. So really, really tiny bones. These are the type of bones that people are going to have different numbers of bones based on how many sesamoid bones they have. They're going to form in tendons, and their job is just they're going to be something solid in that tendon to kind of absorb some of that shock, absorb some of that wear and tear that tendon might otherwise have to go through. In that case, you might end up with tendinitis, you might tear a tendon, all sorts of different things. So those sesamoid bones provide a lot of extra support and a lot of extra just protection. The only sesamoid bone that everybody has is your patella. The patella, your kneecap, is actually in that tendon that goes through your knee, your quadriceps tendon, because you think how much stress goes through the human knee. It's really, really good to have something there to provide some extra support. Your last bone shape or bone category are the irregular bones. Really, these are just going to be the bones that aren't long, aren't short, aren't flat, and aren't sesamoid bones. So they don't fit into any category. They have a number of different functions. An easy way or an easy example of these are your vertebrae, which have all sorts of different shapes, depending on if they're a cervical, a thoracic, or a lumbar bone. They're each going to have their own different shape, and it's just going to be just kind of wild. Here's an image where you can see a lot of these bones. So your flat bones, a good example is in your manubrium and the body of your sternum. You think those bones right here, they're very thin, they're very flat. So those are going to be flat bones. Long bones, the femur is the classic example. Most of your big bones are going to be long bones, so things like your femur, your humerus, and things like that. Your sesamoid bone, here's your patella, your kneecap. You can kind of see just this. The patella is a large sesamoid bone. Most of them you're going to get like in the tendons of your ankle and in your foot. Short bones, remember these are generally kind of cuboidal in shape. Really, they're just going to be good for support. You do get a little bit of movement in between these bones here. And then your irregular bones, you can see, I always think vertebra, especially your thoracic vertebra, look like giraffes. The little horns here and just the mane going down. I don't know, but irregular bones can be all sorts of different shapes and sizes. So when we talk about your skeleton, especially in this class, we're going to talk about it in terms of the two divisions of your skeleton that you have. You have the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton is going to be your head and torso. You think it's going to be a lot of stuff on the middle axis of your body. So it's going to be all of your head bones as well as things like your ribs and your spine. The axial skeleton is going to have about 80 of your bones. In total, we'll go over kind of where those break down when we talk about the axial skeleton and the bones within specifically. So you can see here, it's going to be everything with your skull. That does include your inner ear ossicles, your hyoid bone, which sits behind your jaw here, your rib cage, and then the vertebral column here. So everything highlighted in blue is a part of your axial skeleton. Your appendicular skeleton is going to be everything else that's not part of the axial skeleton. It actually gets its name from the appendages, your arms and legs. So that's why we call it the appendicular skeleton. If you take 206 minus the 80 from the axial skeleton, that leaves you with about 126 appendicular bones, which is quite a bit. Most of those are going to be located in your wrists, ankles, and in your hands and feet. So you can see this is going to be everything in blue. It does include your scapula, your shoulder blade, as well as your clavicle here. When we take a look at those are going to be part of the pectoral girdle, which is really your shoulder joint. So those two bones, even though they look like they might belong to your torso, their role that they have is played out in your shoulders. So we consider them part of your appendicular skeleton. So that is all we have for this. It's a nice short video to introduce you to kind of how we talk about various bones and how we divide up the skeleton.